Okay, guys, so please turn your cameras on. Today, we're going to continue working on the listening section, and more specifically, we're going to continue working on the conversations part of the listening. Today is our practice session, so we'll be practicing only, and we'll try to do it as realistically as we can do it. We'll try to go with maybe simulations test for the conversations part, and we'll do it as fast as we can so that we can maybe do as many as we can, as we have time for. Okay, guys? Please don't forget your camera should be on, and let's get started. Make sure you also have a piece of paper and a pen because we're gonna need to take notes. Okay, guys. Let's see.
Listen to a conversation between a student and an employee.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Come on in.
Okay.
So, what can I help you with today?
Well, I want to join the bicycle club.
Joining clubs is a great thing to do. Unfortunately, the bicycle club currently has no events because the office is being renovated.
Oh, well, when is it going to be done?
The anticipated date of completion is next semester, though it could take as long as a year.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a bummer.
I do apologize.
It's not your fault, I guess. So are there other clubs I can join instead?
Absolutely. There are a wide variety of clubs throughout campus. Since you are interested in the bicycle club, I would recommend the hiking club or rock climbing club. They are popular options for students who are interested in exercising and meeting friends.
Those could be nice. It's too bad about the bicycle club, though. But yeah, those would work. How about the hiking club? When is it?
The hiking club meets Friday evenings.
That won't work then. I have biology class on Friday night. I didn't think finding a club would be this hard.
Don't get discouraged. It's all about finding the right fit. In the future, the bicycle club's office will be finished and they will start up again. You won't always have biology on Friday nights either. What about the rock climbing club?
I do really like climbing. When is that one?
Let's see. The rock climbing club meets Tuesday afternoons.
Okay, yeah. I don't have any class or anything going on then.
So you'd like to join the rock climbing club?
Yes, please.
All right. So the process isn't too complicated. You just have to pay the dues, which aren't very large, and then fill out your contact information and attend the next meeting.
Is it going to be their first ever meeting? Like, will I be that strange new person that nobody knows?
It is not their first meeting, but you really don't need to worry. The whole point of clubs is that they're social and welcoming to new people. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
That's easy to say, but what if I don't?
Well, thinking negatively like that will only hurt your chances. So first, try to stay positive. They will probably ask you to introduce yourself so they can get to know you a little bit, and you'll be good from there.
Stuff like that makes me nervous.
It's perfectly normal to be nervous. But remember, everybody there was the new person at some point. But if for some reason it doesn't work out for you, you can always come back to me. There are plenty of clubs for all kinds of people. And like I said before, you may be able to join the hiking or bicycle club in the future.
But I should still try this now?
Of course, there are no guarantees, and one of the major aspects of college is going out and trying new things.
Yeah. Let's see then. These are the questions we have. Here's our first one. It says, why does the student go to speak to the consultant? What do you guys think?
Going to the bicycle club.
Join the bicycle club. Do you all agree? That's right. Great. But that's what you want. Now, second says, listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the following question.
All right, so the process isn't too complicated. You just have to pay the dues, which aren't very large, and then fill out your contact information and attend the next meeting.
Is it going to be their first ever meeting? Like, will I be that strange new person that nobody knows?
Okay.
The
So-
student is nervous.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I think we all agree, right? Does anyone have a different one? No. Yes, she's definitely nervous, and she even says that later, I think. Now, why can the student join the bicycle club?
Number
The
three.
bicycle club's office is being renovated.
Number 3.
Too late in the semester? Okay, we have different opinions. Henry says 4, yes, the bicycle club's office is being renovated. Ricardo?
Number 3.
3, too late, okay. Wendy?
4.
4, okay. Evelyn says 2, there's no bicycle club. Mateo?
I think 4.
Oh, Evelyn, did you say 2 for this one?
Teacher, number 3.
Number 3, too late. Okay, I think the B office is being renovated. I think that's the one. Because they say that, or the consultant says that it's gonna be available in a few weeks, I think in a few months, or I think even next year, when the office is completed, right? When the renovation is completed. So it is being renovated. Now, what kind of clubs are similar to the bicycle club?
Outdoor activities clubs like hiking or rock climbing.
Yes, so you guys are nodding. Yes, great. Hiking or rock climbing are the 2 other suggestions that the man gives. Which of the following is not a benefit of joining the rock climbing club? This is interesting because it doesn't say it's not mentioned as a benefit, right? It only says it's not a benefit. So, I think it's 4, okay?
Fourth one.
Yes, so this is like, this wasn't mentioned, right? For example, the first one, I don't think it was mentioned, be healthier. Maybe the second and third words implied, because they do talk about meeting people and about going out of your comfort zone and experiencing new things. But the first one wasn't mentioned, but the question says, which is not a benefit. It doesn't say which is not mentioned as a benefit. Because in that case, it would be first and fourth. But yes. So let's check our answers. All right, the first one was correct. She wanted to join the bicycle club. The second one is right as well. She was nervous. The third one is great. The bicycle club's office is being renovated. Outdoor activities is correct. And getting better grades is not a benefit of joining the rock climbing. So yes, I wanna see. Okay, so at the end, here we have the explanation. And it says, although option A, which is about health, is not directly mentioned, this is implied as exercise results in better health. So yes. How do you guys feel about this task we did? Is it okay? Do you have any questions? We're gonna try to go from easier to, and we're gonna increase the level as we go. So is it okay? Do you guys have any questions? No? Guys, let's do another one. Okay, guys, let's see. Okay, so same thing here. Please pay attention and take a few notes.
Hi, can you help me?
Sure, what's the problem?
I've got to write an essay on electrical distribution and transmission systems, but I can't find any suitable books in the engineering section on level 3.
Have you used the library search engine?
You mean where you type the keywords into the computer? Yes, I've done that. A couple of books come up, but they're not on the shelves. Someone's taken them out.
Well, I can put a reserve on them so that when the person brings them back to the library, we can put them on one side for you. Do you want to do that?
I don't know. I suppose so, but ideally I'd like to get started on my essay sooner rather than later.
Well, there are some other options. Have you used the journal database?
No, what's that?
Didn't you go on a library induction tour in the first week of term? They were running 5 days a week, morning and afternoon.
No, I was ill that week.
Well, we still do 2 library inductions a week on Wednesdays, and I recommend you go on one of them. You'll learn a lot of useful things. You can sign up at the desk on level 2.
Yes, I probably should do that then.
Well, I'll just quickly show you how you can use the journal database. If you go onto the library homepage on the computer, look and click on Databases, here in the top right-hand corner, it takes you to all the e-journals that we have access to here at the University Library. You can use the search engine to find journals that are related to your keywords. See, if I type in electrical transmission, you get over 5,000 articles.
Wow.
So that's a good place to start. Meanwhile, you can always go and talk to your subject librarian. The person for electrical engineering is Mark Taylor. His office is on level 4.
Will he be there now?
Let me see. What's the time? 12:15. He'll probably be on lunch, or if not, he'll be going at 12:30. You'd be best to wait and come back at 2-ish. Then you'll be more likely to catch him.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now the first question says, which of the following has Amir done already?
Used the library search engine.
Okay, great. Do you guys agree? Yes. Great, that's correct. Use the library search engine. He's already used it. Second says, on how many days per week are library inductions currently available?
One day per week.
Okay. Yes, do you guys agree? Yes, okay. Yes. I think it's on Wednesdays, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the tricky part here was that I think it was available 5 days per week before, but right now it's only 1. Right. Third question says, what can Amir do on level 2?
Find electrical engineering books.
Okay. Do you guys agree? Yes, Ricardo?
Oh, no, teacher. Meet Mark Taylor, I guess.
Okay. Valentina?
I think me, Mark Taylor was on level 4, and I think this is C.
C, final election, okay. Andy?
I think C.
You as well. And Mateo?
C.
Okay. Don't let yourself get influenced by the others' responses. But let's see. No, not really. I don't think it's meeting Mark Taylor either. I think it's signing up for the library tour. One tip I can give you is, and this goes for both the conversations and the lectures. I mean, honestly, it's a really good tip. Most of the time, you're gonna notice that the questions go in the same order as the information is given in the list. So in this case, they are focusing here on the suggestions, right? The first suggestion was the library inductions. So in the beginning, like question 2, 3, they're probably gonna be about the first part. The second suggestion, I think it was the database journals, right? Look in there. So probably the next ones are gonna be about that. And the last suggestion was meeting Mark Taylor, which was the subject librarian, right? So they're gonna go in order. So for instance, that can help you maybe eliminate a few options, like D, meeting Mark Taylor, because that goes at the end. Even if you don't know exactly where it goes, you know that that was the last suggestion. So it probably won't be here. And in this case, finding the electrical engineering books, I don't know. I think that wasn't mentioned because the problem is that he can find one specific book, I think. So option B. Now question 4 says, where on the library homepage is the link to the database of journals? Is it A, B, C, or D? Is it in the, like on the top right corner, left corner, or bottom? Henry says B. Yes, do you guys agree? Henry says D. Okay. That is the link to the database of journals. You guys don't know? Pick one random. Evelyn?
The option D, teacher.
Ricardo?
I'm not sure, teacher. I got confused in that part.
Okay, no problem. One tip I can give you, for example, in this case, if you don't know the answer, there's really nothing you can do because you cannot like try to guess from context, you cannot try to be logical about it. All of the 4 options are like they have the same probability of being the one, right? There's nothing you can do if you really don't know the answer. So when you have these cases, make sure that you always have one option, let's say A, and every time that you get one of these questions where you have to guess completely, you have no idea, no clue what the answer is, you're always gonna go for the same one, for the same option. You're always gonna select A. That is gonna increase your chances of guessing some of the questions. Okay, so in this case, Ricardo, which one would you choose? You have to guess.
I think C.
Okay. So C is gonna be the one you go for in all of these questions. Let's go for option D, I think it was said. C, no, it was B, top right corner. Okay, this is a detail. There's nothing really we can do but to pay attention and take notes. And question 5 says, what time does the librarian recommend that a meal returns to meet the subject librarian? Okay, Henry says B. About the rest? Wendy?
I'm not sure, but I think C.
Okay. Let's go for B or C, but I think it was D, right? I think that, let's look at the script. At the end, she says, let me see, what's the time? 12:15. So 12:15 is a current time. And she says he'll probably be on lunch, or if not, he'll be going at 12:30. So 12:30 is the time that he's gonna go for lunch. And then the recommendation is you'd be best to wait and come back at 2-ish, right? That means around. So then you'll be more likely to catch. So around 2. So I think that we're struggling with the details, right? The detail type of question. That is the one that we should be practicing. So in order to, like, once you identify what you're struggling with, first of all, you need to try out different strategies, right? Try to do one without taking any notes. Try to do one only focusing on your notes. Try to do one doing a little bit of both. And if you feel that, okay, the problem is maybe they're speaking too fast, then work on the speed, right? Try to play it at different speeds. If you feel the problem is vocabulary, then try to work on your vocabulary. Try to listen to many of these conversations about college life and try to get some words out of that. If you feel the problem in this case, for example, is that you're struggling with catching the details or paying attention to them, or maybe you cannot take notes, then go for something even harder than this, which contains a lot of details. Maybe you can try listening to lectures, I don't know, history lectures. They give a lot of details, so they give out dates and names and maybe biographies. So try to practice listening to biographies, and that way you're gonna practice catching those details, right? It depends on what you need, but you need to try out different things until you get to the right strategy. Because if you just practice like this without doing anything specifically, without practicing or working on something specifically, then you'll just keep on doing the same mistakes. So this is so that you can see what you're struggling with and try to practice. Try to work on what you need to work on. Okay, guys? Any questions before we look at the other one? All right. No. I don't know what's going on. You will just have to. Okay, guys, let's just do this.
Sorry to keep you waiting. What can I do for you?
Although we already did this one, right? Haven't we? No, we haven't.
Sorry to keep you waiting. What can I do for you?
Well, I need some help finding accommodation for the semester.
You've left it a bit late, haven't you? You'll be lucky to find anything.
Yeah, well, I had a room lined up with someone in town, but I rang her yesterday and it turns out she's given the room to someone else.
Didn't you pay a deposit?
No, I didn't think I needed to. We had a sort of informal agreement.
Very informal by the sound of it. Well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? Well, we won't have a lot available. I have to say we definitely don't have any rooms available in the student dorms. I mean, there are always a few no-shows, but we won't know about that for another couple of weeks, and presumably you'll need a place to stay in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean, my parents are here now. We're staying in a motel just out of town, but they'll be leaving in a couple of days.
Well, you could always stay there for a couple more weeks and then take up any free spaces in the dorms when we know about them.
That might be a problem. I mean, I don't have my own transport, so it'll be hard for me to get on and off campus.
Well, that's likely to be an issue whatever you do. You won't find anywhere on campus now.
I suppose I could sleep on a friend's floor for a couple of weeks.
Now, you know that's against college rules, don't you?
Yes, I guess.
Well, it seems to me you have two options. You can either find a motel or a guest house somewhere closer to the campus where you can stay a couple of weeks until we know about any students who don't show up this term. Mind you, they're going to be pretty full now, what with all the students arriving. And there are a lot of people on the waiting list, so we can't guarantee you a dorm. You may be better off looking for some private accommodation in town, you know, renting a room in a private house or sharing a flat with other students.
Yeah, that might be best. Do you have a list of places here?
Well, we got a folder over there of people in town with rooms available. You can look through it and jot down some numbers. Bear in mind, though, that we've had about 50 students a day for the past week coming in and taking a look at it. And we can't keep track of what's available and what's taken. You'll have to do some ringing around.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, you can always look on the Student Body website. There's an accommodation page there, too, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah, but again, this time of year, things are really getting snapped up all the time. It's hard to keep tabs on what's still out there.
Okay, well, thanks for your help. Can I put my name on that waiting list anyway, in case I don't find anywhere else?
Sure. Write your details on this form, and we'll get in touch if anything comes up.
Thanks.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Okay, let's look at the questions. Ricardo, could you please read the first one? It says, why is the student looking for accommodation now? Why is that? Here it says 4, she dislikes her present accommodation. Okay. What do you guys think? Is it 4 then?
Maybe 8. I mean the first one.
Okay. Ricardo says 2. Evelyn says 4. Mateo, what about you?
I think number 1.
Yes, I think I'm gonna go with you on this. So the accommodation she booked is no longer available. It's not that she dislikes her present accommodation because, I mean, I think this could be true, right? I think right now she's staying in a motel. I'm not sure if she dislikes it, but there's another problem with the motel she's staying in. However, the reason why she's looking for accommodation is because she already planned on being or on taking out a dorm, I think. But the person that she did the agreement with gave the dorm to somebody else, right? To another person. So it's no longer available. That was it in the beginning. Now, second says, listen to this part of the conversation again. I'm gonna read it. The student says, no, I didn't think I needed to. We had a sort of informal agreement. And the accommodation officer says, very informal by the sounds of it. Well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? What does the man imply when he says, well, that'll teach you for next time, won't it? Valentina?
Maybe 3.
Okay, 3. Ricardo also says 3. He wants to give the students some advice. Is it advice though? Henry says 3 too. It could be, but I'm not so sure because this doesn't really seem like advice. Henry says 2. He feels sorry for the student. Okay, maybe with this very informal way, sounds great. I'll teach you for next time, right? I don't know. Mateo, what do you think?
I think it's A.
Andy, what about you?
Well, I think it's A too.
Yes, I do agree with that. I think the student was foolish. So he's kind of questioning the student's decision of not having a formal agreement, right? He's questioning why the student did such a foolish thing. So it's like very informal by the sounds of it. Basically, that'll teach you for next time wanted is something like you should have known better. You should have had a formal agreement. You should have done the deposit or something, right? So he thinks that the student was foolish by not having a formal agreement, so that she made sure that her accommodation was in the right place. It isn't really advice, right? Advice would be something like, well, this, I don't know, now you know, or next time try to be more careful, or next time always make sure, something like that. Now, what about the third question? It says, why doesn't the student want to remain where she is staying now? And this was the motel. Why is that?
Option A.
Okay, do you guys agree? Yes, we agree, Evelyn?
Option B.
She doesn't want to stay with her parents. Okay. Ricardo?
I think it's option B.
Okay, let's see. Not really, right? Her parents are staying in town at the time, but I think they're gonna leave soon, right? That is the problem. They're gonna leave soon, and then the accommodation officer says, well, you could maybe stay for a couple more weeks until we find some in the motel. And she's like, it's too far, right? I think it's gonna be a problem to get to university because it's too far. Yes. The rooms aren't expensive. I think it's like the transportation that's expensive because it's too far. You will have a problem with transport. Now, question 4 says, what sort of accommodation may the man be able to offer her in a couple of weeks? Okay, so Henry says a room in a student dorm. Ricardo says 1, okay, a room in a student dorm. Yes, I think Wendy agrees. Valentina?
The first one.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Yes, a room in a student dorm. And that is the only one that honestly makes sense, right? Because this is the accommodation officer, somebody that works for the university. So it's like, what type of accommodation can the university offer? The only one here that would make sense is a student dorm. The other was a motel. has nothing to do with the university, right? It's outside of the university. A student apartment, a shared student apartment, again, that's something that students have to deal with themselves. And a private house is a private house, so that has nothing to do with the university, right? The only thing that the university could do for her is offer her a room in a student dorm, but they will have to see, they will have to wait and see if somebody doesn't show up, right? Somebody that's booked a dorm already. Question 5 says, what is the problem with the accommodation listed in the folder and on the website? What's the problem? Okay. Wendy says 1, Henry says 4, Ricardo says 4. So, Valentina?
I'm not sure, but maybe is the first one or the third.
Okay. Yes, the first one. I think everyone's changing their mind. It goes out of date very quickly. Yes, because I think they say, if you look at the script, they say, yeah, but again, this time of the year, things are getting snapped up all the time. It's hard to keep tabs on what's still out there, on what's still available, right? Because some dorms are being taken, but the list is not up to date, right? The list is not keeping track of what dorms are being taken or not. So they may be out of date. Maybe in the list you have that this thing is available, but it's actually not. It's already been given to somebody. That was the problem. So what do you guys think? How was this one? Is it okay? Do you guys have any questions so far? Questions? Okay, let's do another one. This is, by the way, from the official ETS website. So it's a practice a day off. And honestly, this is kind of how your screen is gonna look like. Pretty similar to the structure in the test. Let's see.
Listening section directions. The listening section of the TOEFL IBT test measures your ability to understand conversation.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Professor Mason. Do you have a minute?
Yes, of course, Eric. I think there was something I wanted to talk to you about, too.
Probably my late essay.
Ah, that must have been it. I thought maybe I'd lost it.
No, I'm sorry. Actually, it was my computer that lost it, the first draft of it. And, well, anyway, I finally put it in your mailbox yesterday.
Oh, and I haven't checked the mailbox yet today. Well, I'm glad it's there. I'll read it this weekend.
Well, sorry again. Say, I can send it to you by email, too, if you like.
Great. I'll be interested to see how it all came out.
Right. Now, I just overheard some graduate students talking. Something about a party for Dean Adams?
A retirement party, yes. All students are invited. Wasn't there a notice on the anthropology department's bulletin board?
I don't know, but I wanted to offer to help out with it. You know, whatever you need. Dean Adams, well, I took a few anthropology classes with her, and they were great, inspiring. And, well, I just wanted to pitch in.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you, Eric, but it'll be pretty low-key. Nothing flashy. That's not her style.
So there's nothing?
No, we'll have coffee and cookies. Maybe a cake, but actually a couple of the administrative assistants are working on that. You could ask them, but I think they've got it covered.
Okay.
Actually, oh, no, never mind.
What is it?
Well, it's nothing to do with the party, and I'm sure there are more exciting ways you could spend your time, but we do need some help with something. We're compiling a database of articles the anthropology faculty has published. There's not much glory in it, but we're looking for someone with some knowledge of anthropology who can enter the articles. I hesitate to mention it, but I don't suppose this is something you would...
No, that sounds kind of cool. I'd like to see what they're writing about.
Wonderful. And there are also some unpublished studies. Did you know Dean Adams did a lot of field research in Indonesia? Most of it hasn't been published yet.
No, like what?
Well, she's really versatile. She just spent several months studying social interactions in Indonesia, and she's been influential in ethnology. Oh, and she's also done work in South America that's closer to biology, especially with speciation.
Not to seem uninformed.
Well, how species form. You know, how two distinct species form from one, like when populations of the same species are isolated from each other and then develop in two different directions and end up as two distinct species.
Interesting.
Yes. And while she was there in South America, she collected a lot of linguistic information and songs. Really fascinating.
Well, I hate to see her leave.
Don't worry, she'll still be around. She's got lots of projects that she's still in the middle of.
Okay, let's see the questions.
Why does the man go to see the professor?
Oh. Harry says 4 to volunteer. Okay, Ricardo also says 4. Yes, do we agree that it's 4? Yeah, right? Remember, they're asking why he goes to see the professor. So he wanted to volunteer in this retirement party, right? It wasn't about, they do talk about an assignment, they do talk about this job for entering articles, and they do discuss Dean Adams' brain research, but the reason why he went to see the professor was to offer volunteering. All right.
How did the man learn about Dean Adams's retirement?
Ricardo says 3, I think. And he says 3. Valentina?
Also 3.
Okay. Yes, he heard students discussing it. Totally. I think we can show the answer. Yes, that's correct. I think they do posted it in the anthropology board, but that wasn't how he heard about it. He heard other students talking about this. Now, next one.
Why does the professor refuse the man's offer to help with the party?
Need to choose 2 answers. Okay, Henry says 3, but we need 2. 2 answer choices. Ricardo says 2 and 3. Henry agrees, 2 and 3. Evelyn?
So, teacher. 2 and 3.
2 and 3, okay. Do we all agree that it's 2 and 3? Are you sure though? The third one is correct, I think. I didn't see what we have to click on to. Okay. So I think 3 is definitely one of them, because in the beginning she says, oh, I see, but it's something really low key. We're not doing something big because that's not the dean's style. And it's just cookies and coffee. So it doesn't really require much preparation. And another reason why the professor doesn't want him to help with the party. Is it because she prefers he spends his time in another project? You sure? I think this is something extra that comes later in the conversation. But before that, she mentions that some assistants are already working on it, right? It's gonna be 1 and 3, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Yes. 1 and 3. Okay, so it's not that she prefers, but she's trying to see if he wants to do it. Not trying to force.
Why does the professor talk about speciation?
So why is that? Ricardo says 3. Do you guys agree? Is it 3? To explain what Dean Adams chose to work on Indonesia. Henry also says 3. Or 4. Okay. Valentina?
I'm between 2 and 4.
Okay, to tell a man about a new research area in ethnology. Okay. Wendy?
I think it's 4.
4 to demonstrate. So yes, I agree with you. Because before that, she says, well, her research is very versatile, she says, right? So it's about different things. It's very varied. So she wants to prove that, and that's why she starts talking about different types of research she's done. And one of them was speciation, but they do talk about other things as well. And I think this one was in South America. It wasn't in Indonesia. So it has to be 4. Yes. And question 5 says,
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
There's not much glory in it, but we're looking for someone with some knowledge of anthropology who can enter the articles. I hesitate to mention it, but I don't suppose this is something you would...
Why does the professor say this?
I hesitate to mention it, but I don't suppose this is something you would...
oh, okay, Henry says, to ask the man if he would be willing to work on the project. Okay. Mateo, do you agree?
I think it's 2.
No. Okay. Ricardo says 2. All right. So yes, I do agree. I think it's 2. That phrase, I don't suppose you could do this. I don't suppose you would be willing to do that. That's a way to ask something, right? So that the other person says, oh no, it's not a problem. I can do it. So it's just a way to ask for something. Now, what is she asking for? She is not asking for the man to recommend somebody else, but she actually wants him to do it because he's the one that has taken the anthropology classes and so forth, and he seems very interested in the subject, right? So yes, to ask the man if he would be willing to work on the project. So let's check out our answers. We had all of them correct. As you can see, the first one is main idea.
Why does the man go to see the professor?
Okay. All right, sorry. So most of them, not all of them are detailed, right? The only detailed questions we have, it would be number 2, how did the man learn about Dean Adams' retirement? Number 3 is also a detailed question. And those are the only 2. All of the other ones don't really require so many notes, as you can see. The first one is the main idea. You just have to remember what it was about. The fourth one is function. So why does the professor talk about this? That's function and purpose. And the fifth one is an inference question, right? What does he imply with that? So is this one okay? Do you guys have any questions now? As far as the conversations go. Excuse me, what was the answer for last question? Let's see.
Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
There's not much glory in it, but we're looking for someone with some knowledge of anthropology who can enter the articles. I hesitate to mention it, but I don't suppose this is something you would...
Why does the professor say this?
I hesitate to mention it, but I don't suppose this is something you would...
The answer was to ask the man if he would be willing to work on the project, right? So we said that I don't suppose that you could do this for me is a way to ask somebody to do that for you. So she wanted to ask the student if he would be willing to work on the project. He wasn't questioning the man's qualifications. I think he was really qualified because he was interested in anthropology and he's taken some classes. He wasn't gonna recommend somebody for the project. She didn't want him to. And she was definitely not apologizing for anything, right? Because for not being able to offer the project to the man, that isn't true. That she was actually asking the guy to do it. So she was able to offer the project. So it was option B, to ask the man if he would be willing to work on the project. And that's it. Any other question? So those are the conversations. Remember, we have conversations and lectures. Tomorrow, we're going to be working on the lectures. We'll cover the theory. We'll look at how they are, what their structure is, some strategies to answer the questions. One thing that is very important for tomorrow's class and for the lectures is to see how to take notes, because notes are really needed in the lectures. So we'll see how to take notes. I'm going to give you some tips about that. And on Friday, we'll be practicing lectures. Okay? Remember what I told you about these. If you want to improve on the listening section, both conversations and lectures, try different things. Try to see what is going on, what you're struggling with. Is it the speed? Is it the notes? Is it the vocabulary? Is it the types of questions? Is it that you're not really understanding the questions? And depending on what it is, then you have to specifically try to work on that, right? And there are different strategies. We talked about speed, we talked about vocabulary, about note taking. So it's all about practicing that specific area that you need to practice. So do you guys have any questions then before we go? And please don't forget, before you leave, we need to complete 2 surveys today. I'm sending you the first one. And please don't go yet. As soon as you guys are done, I'm going to send you the other one. All right? Because we need to fill out. This is the first one. If you could please fill it out. Okay. Missing one. Missing one response. Okay, there we go. Thanks. And please now I'm sending the other one. Okay, thank you so much then. I will see you next class tomorrow. Good
Thank you,
night.
teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Good
Bye,
night.
teacher.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye bye. Take care.